So I just got back from watching the Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters. Man, that was really good. I'm actually very happy with that. That was a really good movie. I didn't think that I'd be like the biggest fan of the translated comic book accuracy to live action The Thing. It looked very odd to begin with. I mean, it's like Guy Gardner's hair from Superman. It's so I understand it's comic accurate, but it's so bizarre of a haircut. It's so ugly. And they even referenced it in the movie that the haircut was ugly, and Guy Gardner was like, "What'd you say?" But no, I was really happy about the designs for everything. It felt so retro, like the way the movies back in the day would think that the future would look like. They stuck with that kind of theme, and that's what they made it in that past time period, because that's what they thought the future would look like, and that's what they wanted the future to look like. They wanted everything to be all round and bubbly, automated, like all these little robot drones and whatnot. Like Herbie is so freaking, he's very simple and he's very cute. We don't see him all that often, but when he is in the scenes, he really takes the stage for sure. Like, he shines. He is an adorable little bot who basically sounds and acts like Wall-E. Almost exactly like Wall-E. The sound design is fantastic. Watching it in IMAX in theaters with the Adobe surround sound, you can hear all the little rocks crinkle every time he moves, like...
Okay, is this guy good or what?
I'm sure whenever he farts, you can hear them rocks clapping them cheeks. Like, you can hear everything, and it sounds awesome. Good job, sound designers, for that. It was really awesome to hear and to watch. Yeah, I will go into spoilers. So, just so people are aware, I will probably talk about some spoilers, especially the end credits and what happened and why did we see them in Thunderbolts and that kind of thing. But to get the simple stuff out the way first, the costume designs are amazing. I like that they're all slightly different from each other rather than one uniform kind of design. Like the leather suits for the X-Men. At the time, you know, during that time period, because of the Matrix, you know, those leather suits were like the shit. That was like, oh, we got some badass X-Men up in here. It's, oh man, I was so glad they didn't use all the yellow and vibrant blues and whatnot.
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
And, you know, late years down the line, after people enjoyed those films originally, then they were kind of shitting on the leather, like, yeah, that doesn't look like X-Men. It's not comic accurate. I mean...
Almost forgot.
Am I going to war or a circus?
What'd you expect? Black leather?
Like, you didn't care about it at the fucking time. Why do you care about it now? Shut the fuck up. Anyway, but no, like, they're all, like, slightly different. Like, I don't know why Mr. Fantastic doesn't have the white kind of collar that everyone else does. But, like, Ben's suit is different from Johnny's suit. Sue's costume is very different from everyone else's costume. Like, I like that there's a little bit of variation and variety within the costumes, and they all weren't just 3D printed on a machine. Each of the designs and functionalities of the suit were taken into account. And I like that about Reed Richards' approach when he was designing everything. Especially the spacesuits. He made it so that Johnny can actually flame on in his spacesuit. And it's really cool, and he even tells him that, hey man, when you burn up, you are burning through oxygen. You need the flame, you need the oxygen to have the flames go on. So if you do that for too long, you will eventually fuck yourself within 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot of time, honestly. The fact that he's able to flame on for that long, that's a pretty good amount of oxygen supply that they have. I don't know what technology Reed Richards was using, because I didn't really see any like oxygen tanks on their back, no backpacks that they were carrying from what I saw. But I was thinking about that, like, wow, he is burning through pretty quickly, pretty good. Since I'm on the portion where they're flying through space, again, spoilers and all that, I already warned, but he is flying after the Silver Surfer, trying to have communication with her for a minute. Whether it's flirty or actually trying to like get into her head and trying to interrogate her, which he does both, and it's very smart. I like that in this movie. It's not just him thinking with his dick. He's thinking with his dick and his head, his brain. He was thinking with both of his heads. Kawaii desu ne. But yeah, my biggest gripe was that he flew after her, leaving Mr. Fantastic, Sue, and the Thing far behind in the dust while he's trying to talk to her. And they're talking for a good minute, and after they're done talking and he realizes he's already 60% depleted with his oxygen, he flies downwards. He doesn't fly back to his team, he flies downwards onto the ground and his team, Sue, Mr. Fantastic, and the Thing, who weren't running, they were not on any type of like mobility cart or anything to catch up with him. They were just walking, and Johnny was able to catch up with him pretty quickly. And I'm like, what? That was a weird jump. They were all the way the fuck over there, and all of a sudden they're over here? What? And that movie actually, the movie does that a lot actually. It will jump between different cuts, and it's very like quick. Like you will notice it. Like the very first thing in the movie is that they've already jumped 4 years from when they started to now, and everything that we've actually seen in the trailers, all the like them standing on the stage, them looking at their watch, them doing all these heroic performances, that's actually like the first 10 minutes of the film. Well, yeah, like about 10 minutes of the film, a montage of like their heroic acts and what they've done to save people. Like all those moments in the trailer were actually really smart and cleverly crafted, because you'd think that those would be things happening while Galactus is attacking, but no, those are all their heroics that they've done in the past, and that's just an introduction to their story. So not only is it smart writing and directing, but it's good for the trailers because it's not really spoiling anything, since none of that is relevant to Galactus. And I like that a lot, because a lot of people were speculating that everything that we see in the trailers has to be during the fight of Galactus. So people were looking in the backgrounds like, where is he? They probably scrubbed him. I can't see him in the background. But no, he wasn't there yet. I really love the dynamic that Ben and Johnny have. I really like this a lot better than the original Fantastic Four that we saw back in 2004, I believe it was. The first movie, not the Silver Surfer, not the second one. Yeah, I think it was 2004 and 2007. But no, in the 2004 one, the original one with Chris Evans being Johnny Storm, he was just a straight up dickhole. He was a fucking asshole. And yeah, it was kind of funny at times, but most of the times it's like, damn, dude, like stop being you're just being a dick for the sake of your written up character. But this Johnny Storm, this thing, they're brotherly. They like banter with each other from time to time, and they are very like respectful towards each other. Ironically, I'm saying that even though, you know, they banter with each other a lot. But it's kind of wholesome and cute that they're not fighting each other, they're not arguing, screaming, throwing things, they're not like throwing tantrums, and it felt actually warm, and like this family felt like a good family for the young one to be raised with. And I like that a lot. And I'm a little mixed on this part. I like that they're not showing that Ben, as the Thing, that they're not showing him in pain as he used to be when he was first transformed into the Beast and losing his, you know, his humanity, his figure, you know. His human form. I like that they didn't show that, because we already saw that extensively in the first movie, but I also didn't like it because it also shows that he's missing it, you know, that he struggled a lot in the public eye, that people were calling him a freak, they were harassing him, you know, they were like very judgmental, especially if this is in the 60s. Back then, whew, my brother would be crucified. This wasn't the 2000s Ben, this is 1960s Ben. To me, that's wild, right? I wanted them to investigate more into that, but after only 4 years, he's like the #1 character in the streets. Like everyone is cosplaying as Ben and making him smile and making him like want to say hi to the kids and show up in the public space like without no shame. And I love it so much. I love that the people of this world respect him enough as a man under all the rock, right? His disfigurement. I love that so much. That I don't think that would have ever happened in the actual 1960s. I don't think that would ever happen. But because they're worldwide renowned figures, it makes sense that, you know, they would be taught maybe in the schools or something, you know, and they're just like, everyone's a little different, so just respect this man because they risked all their lives to give us all this amazing technology, which they utilize today, and they've saved us countless times. The only 4 metahumans or superheroes or whatever, sorry, I'm thinking of Superman when they call everyone metahumans, but basically, you know, Marvel's first family, they've done everything for this planet, which also brings into the plot of the movie. A lot of things jump, like how I was saying before, where they talk about going into space and meeting Galactus, and then they come back to Earth, and immediately what they do is they talk to all the world countries about building a device in every country without any hesitation, without any government approval, without anything required to make these bills and laws be passed to actually communicate this on a global scale, and they were all functioning 100%. Not a single country failed to create what was needed for the plan to escape Galactus. They achieved world peace because of the Fantastic Four. That is fucking mind-blowing, and they built everything relatively quick, and like I said, not a single design on the planet was faulty at all. It all functioned. To me, that was beautiful. So to bring it back to Ben Grimm, not only do they respect him and they care about him and they cosplay as him, and they ask him like, oh, lift the car, that's so cool, go Thing, go Ben, go. I don't even think they call him the Thing actually in this movie. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they ever once called him the Thing. Maybe in the cartoon where he's like, it's clobbering time, but I don't know. I actually didn't notice if anyone has called him the Thing, unless Galactus or the Silver Surfer sprinkled that in somewhere and I completely just went over my head. But it's just the amount of love you feel from this planet, and then you see the Silver Surfer come in and she's kind of like, this planet, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, you have all this intelligent life, and Galactus is asking for the child, and it's just a baby. Like, leave the child alone. Like, I like that her I don't want to say humanity, but her alien morals, the goodness of her heart is still there somewhere, and it really exemplified that even further, the fact that the world was united. And that was such, like I said, it's just really good writing, it's really good storytelling, and it's very emotionally impacting, all the support. And even when they were starting to lose faith in the Fantastic Four, because they came back a month later, they went through some time dilation going into space and immediately coming back as fast as they could. Apparently a month passed, and it makes sense, right? They came back with open arms and welcomed by the public until they were unprepared with the speech to say, because the first question that was asked was, so how did you defeat Galactus? Tell us all about that. Like he presumed that they came back successfully, which I understand. They're very optimistic, and again, this planet is very supportive of the Fantastic Four. Everyone on the planet has so much respect for this family. So I understand the first question would be, so how did you defeat him? When that wasn't what happened. That they came back immediately after being defeated, barely escaping, right? And that's powerful because they're traumatized. That happened literally 4 minutes ago, and your braided first question, all this intimidating amount of people in the press asking, like, how did you save us? Please tell us how fantastic you all were. Brother, let them breathe. Holy shit. Especially because, again, spoilers, Sue Storm just gave birth in space to her kid that she wasn't even ready to give birth to yet. But because fucking Galactus I-beamed her ovaries or whatever the fuck he did, I guess he accelerated the process and wanted him to come out sooner so he can just grab him. He was a little bit merciful. He could have just ripped the baby right out of her. So he was willing to listen and willing to negotiate. And I think the first question out of Reed Richards' mouth should have been, because Galactus had asked, why are you here? What brings you here? Something like that. The first question could have been, well, we'd like to know how we can help you. Right? If they know about it, if they ask him about his issue, which he explains, he's cursed with hunger. He used to be a small little man, but over the lifetimes that he's lived, he's constantly in pain. He's constantly starving. And, a lot of people out there, when you don't have your Snickers in the morning, you can be a little grumpy-wumpy too. You don't have your cup of coffee yet. Some of you motherfuckers would actually throw hands and stab a bitch for a McChicken nugget. I've seen so many clips online. So for this poor, hundreds of billions of years old, giant man, starving his ass off, actually gives you a minute to explain his pain and his sorrow. I would have wanted to work with him, okay, well, how can we help you without it eviscerating an entire planet of people? Are you here for the resources? Because what we can do, if they find out about the Infinity Stones, I don't know what Galactus knows, right? He's been alive for so long, he has to know about something, so maybe they could have partnered and ventured to look for the Flora Colossi, Groot's people, get their seeds that populate so much vegetation for an entire planet and then just have him feast on that.
They're called the Embers of Genesis. Nutrient-rich cosmic dust from an ancient supernova with the power to terraform entire ecosystems. With 1 ounce, you can heal a dying planet in minutes. And with a payload the size we're talking...
We could feed billions of people on millions of worlds and eradicate hunger across the galaxy.
Or, if that doesn't work, then, you know, Infinity Stones. They could have found out something. They could have asked more questions like, hey, how can we help, right? But no, things didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And then the fact that Invisible Woman is super uber powerful and able to actually go toe-to-toe with the Silver Surfer was brilliant. Because I'm like, what the fuck is Mr. Fantastic gonna do? Is he gonna be like that guy from The Boys where he whips out his dick and like chokehold strangles her with it? Like what was Mr. Fantastic gonna do, right? Johnny Storm, even if he uses his flames, it doesn't really seem like it affects her all that much. And then the same thing for Ben. Unless he's Ben Grimm from Marvel Rivals where he can like punch the air and like supersonic blast her off the board or something. The only person that can really attempt to attack her is just Johnny Storm's long distance attack, which again doesn't really work all that well, or Sue Storm with her abilities to be able to grab her like from a distance telekinetically and just fucking bash the bitch into the walls, into the lava too. That was awesome. But during the parts where they come back to Earth and they're kind of scared because they don't want to lose their son, and they're told that he's actually one of the more cosmic beings ever, of all time, ever. He's one of the most powerful beings to actually rival up against Galactus on his own and take his place. That was not only scary for a parent to hear, but you know, they're freaking the fuck out. They just had this kid. They've tried for 2 years, they said this at the very beginning of the movie, to be able to have kids, and all of a sudden it became possible. And then to immediately be put in a position where you would have to sacrifice your child, which any parent on this planet would say no to that. They would not, I mean, this family was not willing to abort the child or give up the child. It wasn't in the cards. It just was not going to happen. Most families, I should say, on this God-good given Earth, this beautiful planet that we have, would not give up their children. They would move heaven and earth for their child, which is something that I've heard said to me when I was a kid, and I'm sure many other people have heard that saying too, and that really resonates with the people on the planet when she gives her speech about, I understand that people are terrified and scared. We're being told that we're facing a threat that no one can defeat. He is a very large planet-eating, you know, monster. But to give up the child, no other parent would say yes to that so easily, right? So it makes sense. And Mr. Fantastic was even saying that logically, you know, without the question of morality playing a factor in it, that would be the best solution and the best option. But he's only saying that because he's preparing for the worst, even though he doesn't want to prepare for it. He talks about probabilities all the time, right? Something terrible could happen at any moment in time, the worst that you can think of. We need to prepare for that just in case. No one wants to think about World War III. No one wants to think about a meteor coming straight to planet Earth and we're directly in the line of sight of it. You know, no one wants to think about impending death. No one wants to think about the Teflons, the chemicals in our water, the nuclear radiations that we've had from so many past wars. No one wants to think about that. But if another scenario presents itself, you have to be prepared. When it comes to another global pandemic, which is something that was being already focused on and studied on, and we had funding for that back in the day.
We have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment and we're further along to be able to catch it.
And now it's been canceled, and then we have a global pandemic, and it's like, well, this could have been prevented if we had the fucking funding still for it, you know what I'm saying? When things like that happen, it is scary, and you're not prepared. But that's something that you have to think about. Not that you want to think about it, but it's something that needs to be addressed at some point. But the way that they all team up together in the final part of the film where they're all fighting and they get rid of, like, not get rid of, but they escort all the citizens away from the city. So that way all that destruction happens locally within the island and nowhere else, right? It was smart. It was well made, well done, and very well coordinated. You know what? Something I forgot to mention as well, and this is actually something that that kind of blew my mind a little bit. The reason I forgot was because he was a background character, and I kind of just blew it off. They added the fucking Underminer from The Incredibles into this movie. I mean, he's not the Underminer, he's Mole Man, and essentially his, plan is very, very similar to that of the Underminer from The Incredibles. And we've known already that these characters were taking inspiration from The Incredibles. So The Incredibles having the stretchy ability and Invisible Girl, and then you got Super Strong Man, and then the Speedster. We ignore the Flash, but basically, it's a family of four. The Fantastic Four and The Incredibles, and people even Photoshop the characters' outfits to be from white and blue to black and red with the Incredibles logo on it. So I thought that was really funny. I'll try to keep this short and fit it in the original video somewhere, but yeah, they added the fucking Underminer from The Incredibles, and his desires and his plot line and his kind of deal is that he just prefers to be in Subterranea and he hates the Day Dwellers. He has like a relationship with Sue Storm's grandfather in the universe. There's like an actual comic book that came out that explains the pretense of what happened in this film. Yeah, no, it was just really interesting. I completely forgot about the Underminer. Completely forgot about him because he wasn't super important to me, but in the story he does play a little bit of a part. And I saw a lot of people saying in memes, obviously, that is New York the only place on the planet that exists? Why don't they ever destroy anything else in the world? And that's because, part of the story, most of these characters reside in New York City, but part of the story is that across the entire planet, Silver Surfer has destroyed all the relays that were supposed to help this machine teleport the Earth to another solar system far enough away from Galactus that it would take him a long ass time to make his way over there and even locate it, and they would still be within distance of the sun to survive, so nothing would really change effectively.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
But again, Silver Surfer destroys all those besides New York, which Johnny was prepared to stop her because they live in New York, so they were closest to it. They saw that all the relays were being destroyed super quick, so she was going like Santa Claus across the fucking globe destroying all these things, and Johnny's like, oh shit, she's going for the relays, I have to get out there and do something. So he goes out there and he does something with his time of research, which I'm very impressed with Johnny, by the way. Very impressed. Never did I think Johnny Storm would be capable of anything that clever, smart, and brilliant. Not just from the comics or any of the previous films, but even this movie itself. Like, he doesn't really strike anyone as someone that is willing to learn something for the benefit of other people, right? He's a little self-centered, but he still cares about other people. He's not a jackass like Chris Evans' Johnny Storm. He's not. But to see his plan to learn her language and decode everything that she's ever said or anything that he's heard from across the galaxies from these recordings that they've gotten, I thought that was brilliant to be able to guilt trip her into the fact that she is, the one decimating all these people. And to be free of the Herald is something that they can all do, or to be free of Galactus is just something that they can all do, like, together. And I appreciated that. I really appreciated that. I was like, wow, okay, Johnny, interesting. Good work, man, good work. And without going too far into, like, her viewpoint and what she's been through and all that, they show a little bit. But it was a really good move to be able to see that it does hurt her and it does affect her. That she's not just this heartless monster, just kind of obeying the will of Galactus. Like, she's trying to peacefully even negotiate at the very end before she leaves Johnny that please just give him the child. This isn't worth it. I don't want to see these people suffer or everyone die again. I can't do that. I can't witness that anymore. Before she leaves, and then she comes back at the very end to help out. It's really, like, good on her. She is stuck with him, and the other side of space, wherever they are, wherever he is without his, vessel, he's stuck there with her, and she's probably suffering. Because they jump cut to 4 years later, and they don't really talk about what happened afterwards, like what kind of preparations they were taking to kind of, and I like that, but it does leave a lot of questions because it's like, are they still building the teleportation thing? Is he still working on that? Is that something that he has as a backup? Like, what if he is still working on it during those 4 years and he's like, all right, just in case he comes back, I will hit this button and we will travel to another multiverse. And then that's why we see them in Thunderbolts, right? maybe they teleport their Earth from 838, which is Jack Kirby's birthday, by the way. I really like that. I thought that was cute. But yeah, maybe in the future, as a backup plan, they do teleport their planet to the opposite side of the Earth's rotation in 616. So that way, the 616's normal planet is in summertime, and then 838 is on the other side of the sun going through winter. Like, it could be a way to share the space, because it's not like having the same planet in the same exact orbital rotation would change anything. They won't crash into each other. They're going at the exact same speeds at the exact same time, and it's only temporary, right? I'm thinking maybe he does advance the technology and he does figure out like all this kind of stuff to protect the planet, but we didn't get any of that resolution, any of that context or anything. But it is a question that I have, because it's like, I'm very curious to know the answer to this. There has to be something. And then finally, the ball buster over here. When they do defeat Galactus and he goes through the wormhole and he teleports to the other side of wherever the fuck he went, and he's with Silver Surfer, and Sue Storm used every bit of her power to push him into the portal. I'm wondering, one, why didn't they just do that before to begin with? And two, the fact that she expelled so much power that she fucking died was heartbreaking. I was actually in theaters watching Pedro Pascal and Johnny Storm's actor as they were like tearing up and crying. I almost felt like crying too. I'm like, this isn't the main 616 universe, so it is possible that she is actually dead. The sun will replace her in the future. But as soon as I saw that the baby was crying and reaching out for the mom, it was CG, by the way. It was very awkward. It was a CG baby. They used an actual practical baby for some of the scenes, but at this point where the baby's crying and reaching out to the mom, it was super CGI, like you could tell. It was very awkward. But anyway, as soon as I saw that the baby wanted to touch the mom, and Mr. Fantastic was, for some reason, putting his son on his wife's dead corpse, I knew she was gonna come back to life. I knew it was gonna happen somehow, you know? Like in Tangled, where she cries, and then all of a sudden Flynn is back alive, you know? Like, I knew this Disney shit was gonna happen. I'm like, oh, okay, so she's not dead. And as she moves her finger, and I'm like, yep, okay. Trying to put me through an emotional roller coaster, and then I'm already seeing the result and what's happening. Not much of a big surprise. But Galactus's design, his character, his demeanor, his everything was really fucking cool, man. Every detail that you can see on him, all of like the footsteps and the destruction that he brings, he is a Goliath. He's not galaxy sized. I don't know why the decision was made to not have him be that big. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be able to defeat him at all. At that point, he is fucking demolishing and eating everyone for breakfast, right? But I'm curious, why is he so small? I don't know if they've ever explained that, but I would like to get some insight on why he's baby-sized. But man, it was really good. It was really good. The glowing eyes every time it made the brrr, I was like, he's a fucking beast. And then for the post-credit scene, I want to talk about it because it was something that I saw coming from miles away. This was not a surprise at all, because they did say that this movie does connect with Avengers Doomsday, and there's a reason why this movie was being made to begin with. I mean, it wasn't just to bring in the Fantastic Four, but it ties in with the story that they want to tell for the multiverse saga, right? So they are going to jump between realities, which we do see in the Thunderbolts, but we don't see that in this movie either. We don't see them travel to 616. And that Fantastic Four ship is very different from the one in this movie. So that's gotta be 838's Fantastic Four. I don't think it's 828's. I think it's 838's, the one that Stephen Strange visited. Because that ship design is very different. Very different. But anyway, post-credit scene, right? After Galactus' defeat, they jump 4 years more. Well, they jump a year after to be on that show, and then they get called to something, and then that ends the movie. But then they jump 4 years later again. So by this time, the baby is 5-ish. She goes to the kitchen to get him his other book that he wants to read. She comes back to the kitchen, and in slow motion, she like goes white, and she's seeing something terrible, like she's scared, right? Because we've seen throughout the entire movie that the Baxter building is very well defended. Very well defended. The public people can stand outside of it, literally at the front doors, but it's so defended and well made that no one is really a threat to be able to get into the building, to break in, like whatever, right? So the camera turns to show a very blurry background where the baby was supposed to be, and it turns around one of the tables or the fireplaces. It was a fireplace. It turns around one of the fireplaces, and you see a green cloak with a mask in the hand, and it's someone leaning over to the baby, just looking at him, and then it cuts from there. You don't hear anything. You don't see Robert Downey Jr. It's absolutely a body double because they're not going to pay $300 million for Robert Downey Jr. to just be in there for half of a microsecond, right? It was cool, and you know, we get the implication that he's there for the baby. We know, and again, we knew this was gonna happen because this has to be tied in with Avengers Doomsday. So we saw this coming, and I even told my friend before. He's like, "Oh man, that'd be so awesome if Dr. Doom was gonna be in the movie along with Galactus." And I'm like, "That's not gonna happen," and I was right. That wasn't gonna happen. He's not in the movie at all. By he, I mean Robert Downey Jr. Doom is in the post-credit scene, which I even told him, if anything, he's gonna be in the post-credit scene, and it's gonna be from behind, or it's gonna be with the mask, and he's not gonna speak. They're not paying Robert Downey Jr. any more than $200 million. That man is fucking loaded for the rest of his life. Yeah, so it was clearly a double, someone else. But yeah, I saw that coming from a mile away. I already knew that was gonna happen, but people were in the theater were even like, and I'm like, of course this is gonna happen. Why are you all so fucking surprised? But it is exciting. You know, they just got their son protected and far away from Galactus. We don't know the resolution of where Galactus is, what happened with the Silver Surfer, nothing. It's just a 4-year time jump, and then she's reading a book with her son, and that's it. And that's fine because, you know, they're just ending the movie there, but it would have been nicer if the movie was a little bit longer, like maybe half an hour longer, because there's a lot of scenes and a lot of sequences that I wish weren't time jumped, and they were a little bit longer, just a little bit more explained. But anyway, the movie was just fantastic, and I didn't say that, you know, for the pun. I actually genuinely mean it was fantastic for the first time after so long. Okay, that one I tried fitting in there. But yeah, it was really good. I did see Superman, and I do have a little snippet of me talking about Superman. I didn't edit it yet because I've been kind of busy, but I will probably edit this one first because this one is... I really liked both movies, right? The Superman was really good, but I really think the Fantastic Four really knocked it out of the park. I think this was much better, honestly. And I'm not saying that to be a hater, and I'm not saying that because it's been weeks since I saw the Superman. No, I even talked about this on the live stream and in the Discord with my friends. I don't hate the Superman movie. It's really good and it's nice. But there's a lot of parts in it that felt really unnecessary and slow and just kind of like, it could have been better. Like the part with the garage going really slow. Like there's an emergency going on and you're telling me that you're gonna wait for this goddamn thing to reach all the way to the top before you get into the ship? You know, there's an emergency going on. Okay, there, it's finally open. I was like, yeah, that's a funny gag, but it's in the worst possible space. Like, that could have been cut out. Anyway, I like the Superman film. They're both brilliant movies. I had fun with both. They're really good. I just really like the Fantastic Four a little bit more, personally. But yeah, I will show a clip about one of the 2 streams I did, jokingly about the Silver Surfer. And I gotta find a way to cut this down a little bit more because it's going on for way too long already. But yeah, great movie, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to be able to own it in IMAX. I actually don't rewatch movies a second time in the theater. Because like once I see it, I saw it already and I'm just excited to own it, but I kind of really want to see it again. There's so much good stuff in this movie, so much good culture and writing and, you know, comedy and acting and, you know, the designs and details, the plot, you know, the costumes, you know, it's all so good. It was actually really brilliantly made, and I really hope that this director gets more films like this, because it was a good time. There's also no way that Johnny did not keep the recording that he had looking at Silver Surfer, and he's like, damn them titties, girl. There's no way he's not slapping his salmon to that. I'm sorry, but he had the recording. He was interested for sure. And in the comics, he's known to be a pervert with the aliens. So, I mean, not trying to bring that up, but you're welcome. Now you also have that thought in your head, too. I was thinking about it more, and it's been 4 years since the events happened with Galactus. He's on the other side of the universe, or something like that. Whatever's happening, either he's starving to death, or he's able to actually transport himself without the use of the ship. Kind of like how he did in the Fantastic Four Silver Surfer movie from 2007. He was a giant gaseous cloud, so he probably doesn't even need the ship. But I was thinking about that point. What happened with the ship, right? It's been 4 years. Did Reed Richards dismantle it? Did he destroy it? Did he send that through a black hole as well? I know some people were saying that during the cartoon, it looks like he had Pym particle tech or something, like he shrunk one of the animated characters, Claw, I guess. What happened with the ship? Is he using it? Is he studying it? Is that how he builds more of his technology within those 4 years? Is that how he builds those blue discs that like are able to teleport him a little bit more easier? Like I just wonder what happened with that ship. And then one of my more favorite Easter eggs, I forgot to mention this too. There's a lot of things that I didn't get to mention, but the Timely comics was so cute. I love that so much. It was so nice to be able to see Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Easter egg, you know, reference and memorabilia dedication to the founders of Marvel Comics and the Fantastic Four family, Spider-Man, you know, all of that stuff. But yeah, I noticed the Timely comics, but I didn't notice that that was supposed to be a younger imitation of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. I kind of got the vibe, but I didn't really fully piece that together. So I saw someone mention that online, and I'm like, you know, that makes a lot more sense now. That's why I noticed that was Timely Comics, but I guess I didn't really piece together the fact that that was supposed to be Stan Lee, which is really cute, and I really like that a lot. It's not like replacing him, it's not CGIing him, it's just kind of like a small little Easter egg that in that universe, those comic artists are also like inspired by their, you know, 828's real life superheroes, and it was cute, and I really liked that. It was a good little Easter egg. I already have one bit of criticism for the Fantastic Four movie that I think it's gonna bomb because it doesn't have this, honestly. It's most likely gonna suck because of this one thing that's missing. Why doesn't the Silver Surfer have nipples?
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not
Where's the
judging.
vagina slit? Where's the beef patties at?
I never wanted to be Iron Man, but it worked out for everybody.
Explain that, Mr. Scientist. Review bomb this movie now. 1 star! As a degenerate male whose mind is constantly in the gutter because all I crave is sex, as a male should. You know, feminists are correct. It's the only thing I desire. Where are them titties?
Win-win.
How do you breastfeed on planet Magnesium?
When I see someone with powers like yours, I think
Get fucked,
wow,
Kevin Feige.
I mean,
You didn't even think about your universe correctly. Jesus Christ. They gave every male in the
battle starts
swimsuit
in
costumes
5, 4,
a big ass
3,
bulge.
2,
See, that is a comically hilarious bulge. And maybe it's because I have a small dick. But anyway, that is too big of a bulge. That is not realistic. Try again. Redo the skins. Loki's dick is not that big. Trust me, I've read the comics. Actually, in comic lore, his cock is not that big. Trust me, I read every single issue. No homo. I just read every single comic issue that's ever been. Ooh. The fact that he ran into that last bullet is... Oh, fuck. Oh, that's my teammate. Oh, thank God. I thought that was fucking Liu Kang again. Iron Fist. Holy shit. I got scared. I keep seeing memes of some bald guy with like metal on his lips, like if he was eating pussy from the Silver Surfer or whatever. Now that is perverted degeneration at its finest. Yeah, I don't know if that's Nicholas Hoult, the bald guy that has the metal on his lips. I don't know if that's from like Mad Max or something, because it looks very Mad Maxy. When I saw the suggested comments that Silver Surfer isn't that hot, and then it shows that image with silver on his mouth, I was like, of course. Of course. Sexualize everything. That's funny. Hilarious. Hence the joke about being a degenerate male is the only thing that I crave. It's just for the sake of irony. And also because that meme was fucking gross. The implication of the liquid metal in his mouth was just disgusting. I was like, you guys are sick.